Say what you wanna say, do what you wanna do. I'm handing you back the reins to make you.
Okay, you guys, so for my second video, YouTube video, I wanted to let you know that I am going to start an elimination diet in a couple of days, so next week, and it's a diet that I have done before and I found a lot of success with as far as just alleviating some of my digestive issues. So I kind of wanted to talk to you about that particular diet, and I will be tracking my progress as I go through it, and of course making videos of that progress so that you can see, and hopefully if any of you are interested in participating in the diet as well, I hope that you find as many benefits as I have from this. So the diet is called the McCombs Plan. It is a Candida or Anti-Candida diet, and there are lots of anti-Candida diets out there in the world, and a lot of them are based on kind of eliminating sugar from your diet and any starchy vegetables and breads and that kind of thing. This particular approach is different, and so I just kind of wanted to talk to you about that. So first of all, regarding Candida, because many people have heard of Candida and they know it as something that can manifest as a yeast infection, which has, I think I read the statistic, affected like 30% of all women at some point in their lifetime. But what a lot of people don't know is that Candida is a morphogenic organism, so it can actually change form from its relatively innocuous yeast form, which is kind of the circular looking organism, and it can morph and become kind of elongated, and that's considered a pseudohyphal form, and then it can turn into its fungal form, which is called hyphal. And when it becomes its fungal form, it actually has kind of this head and one end of the organism, and then it forms this tail, like filamentous tail, and it can integrate itself into tissues in the body where it kind of anchors down, and then the fungal form of Candida can propagate and kind of take over your entire system, becoming systemic. So when you have a systemic fungal infection, it can cause a lot, like a myriad of effects, negative side effects for your body, some of which, of course, are manifest as digestive issues, as they have in my own system. So 6 years ago, when I discovered this diet, I was suffering from severe cramping, bloating, and I guess just overall indigestion. And it didn't really matter what I ate. I could eat a banana, or I could eat a salad, or I could eat soup, or it didn't really matter. But after every meal that I ate, I could have a smoothie. I was keeling over in pain, like just with severe cramps. So I was in so much pain that I was basically able or willing to do anything at that point to fix the problem. And so when I finally came across this particular diet, and I had tried many before, which a lot of them had approached fighting Candida by either eliminating sugar altogether, so that goes for all fruit sugars and any concentrated forms of sugars, potatoes, processed foods, breads, grains, all of it. And then another approach was to add in all these fermented vegetables and yogurts and probiotic rich foods to help fight Candida. But none of those approaches worked for me. And the Candida Plan through the McCombs Plan does work. So I'm going to explain kind of how that works, but first, I wanted to let you know that when I did this diet 6 years ago, okay, so I went to keeling over in pain from eating just about anything to, after 4 months, well, actually I did it 8 months because I had kind of a setback in the middle, so I did it again for another 4 months. So I did this thing for 8 months, And by the end of that 8 months, I could eat anything I wanted. Pizza, bread, vegetables, any grain, like anything. I could eat anything I wanted and have no digestive issues whatsoever. So it was like a complete game changer for me. And after eating whatever I wanted for a year and not gaining any weight, like feeling the best I had felt in years, I did end up getting some kind of infection at one point and needing a dose of antibiotics. So after I had antibiotics, it kind of triggered my system to kind of go back into that same mode that it was before. I never got to the point where it was as severe as it was 6 years ago, but I have had to take antibiotics a few times over the last 6 years, and so I've noticed that my system's gotten a little out of whack. And I've told myself, you know, I really need to go on the McCombs Plan again and just reset my system, but it's hard to commit to if you're not like fully engaged in it or not fully committed. And because I wasn't in as much pain as I was 6 years ago, like I was still able to digest things for the most part. I would just feel bloated after. It wasn't enough to like really commit myself to the diet. Plus just kind of social engagements where I wanted to participate in and drink alcohol. Alcohol is not on this diet at all. You have to kind of eliminate that for 4 months. So that does take some pretty good, you know, commitment from you in order to adhere to that. But now that I'm 6 years down the road and I just had a new moon in Virgo, and so I'm ready to launch this YouTube channel and start the Candida Plan, and I would love for you to either participate in it with me or at least follow my journey to maybe inspire you to do this, because it will fix your digestive issues. But not only that, there are 125 symptoms that are associated with fungal candida. Everything from like acid reflux, ADD, to acne and other skin conditions like psoriasis and eczema, autoimmune conditions, joint pain, indigestion of any kind, of course, all the digestive issues that you might have, leaky gut, Crohn's disease, brain fog, cancer, nail fungus, PMS, poor concentration, poor memory. There's a whole huge list on the website. If you go to candidaplan.com, urinary frequency, flatulence, food allergies, food cravings, weight gain. Anyways, so it's a huge list. So yeah, this diet, I can guarantee this diet will help you or at least help relieve a lot of those symptoms. If you stick to the plan, do it properly, I think you will find a lot of relief for whatever issues you're going through. It's also implicated, so once the yeast form of Candida is triggered by either a dose of antibiotics, or I've even seen like they've tested astronauts, and so when astronauts go up into space and they hit zero gravity, that somehow the environmental change can trigger Candida and morph it into the fungal form of systemic Candida, and that's why astronauts often are more susceptible to illnesses, because their immune system is compromised at that point. So, if you've ever done antibiotics, then most likely your yeast form of Candida has been triggered and is now in a fungal systemic form. So you would all benefit from this diet if you can commit to it. Or if you're in enough discomfort to where you're willing to try anything, this is the thing to try. All right, so what else? So I'll just go into kind of how this plan works, because it can feel probably overwhelming at first. So I'll just kind of touch on how it works, but you are required to take some supplements, and there's 3 supplements that you are required to take. The first one is called Candida Force. I believe what I've read in the past is that it's a derivative from the castor bean, or at least castor oil, and it's an antifungal supplement. So you're required to take 5 capsules of the Candida Force, or the antifungal supplement, 3 times a day. So basically morning, middle of the day, and at night. And you want to take it at least 20 minutes away from a meal. And that's how it works the best. So you take the Candida Force, or the Anti-Candida supplement, or the antifungal, for the first 8 weeks of this diet. And then you don't have to keep taking it for the second half of the diet. The other supplement that you're required to take is a detox supplement, and it's just this Detox Essentials. It contains vitamin C, echinacea, red clover blossom, and lemon bioflavonoids. So it just helps with kind of the detoxification during this process, because when you're killing off the Candida, the fungal form of Candida, it can end up coming out in ways that are uncomfortable, like through your sinuses. You can get congestion, sore throats. Your body can feel almost like flu-like if you're not taking the proper steps to help your body and aid in the detoxification process. So for the entire 16 weeks or 4 months, you will be taking 4 capsules of the Detox Essentials twice a day. So morning and night. And then the third supplement that you're required to take that doesn't actually come into play until halfway through the diet. So after week 8, I suppose, is their probiotic. So they don't even have you taking a probiotic until you've kind of neutralized the fungal infection of Candida and brought it back into its yeast form. And then that's when you introduce the good probiotics and start to propagate the gut flora and the good bacteria. Because many of you know, antibiotics, they not only kill the bad bacteria that are responsible for causing whatever infection you're taking the antibiotics for, but it also eliminates the good bacteria, which are responsible for digestion and your immune system and keeping your hormones balanced. So it's important to have both good bacteria, and Candida albicans is actually not a bad bacteria, but when it's allowed to overpopulate, that's when you run into problems. And of course, when it turns into its fungal form. So you've got to have the right balance, and this diet will neutralize the fungal form of Candida, and then it will help the good bacteria grow. Okay, so what else? So those are the supplements. And then the other thing you want to do during this 4-month process is drink enough water. So water consumption is very important with this to also help with the detox. And they recommend drinking 1 quart of water for every 50 pounds of body weight. So do the math. Basically, I will be drinking between 64 and 96 ounces of water a day, which I have a 64-ounce water bottle at work, and I try to drink 2 of them. So that's 128 ounces, and I'm not 200 pounds, so I'm getting more than I need. So that's good. The third step that you need to implement for this diet is to sweat. And they're not talking about exercise sweat. They're talking about sitting in a sauna, a steam room, or taking a hot bath or jacuzzi 6 times a week. And so if you want to be in sweat mode for like 10 to 20 minutes. So if you're in a sauna, when your forehead starts to beat up with sweat, you want to stay in the sauna for at least 10 to 20 minutes after that point in order to adequately sweat for that particular day. Same with if you're taking a hot bath, you want to, once you start sweating from your forehead, you want to sweat for at least 10 to 15 minutes at that point. And you can utilize bath salts and Epsom salts to help with the detox as well. But you do want to sweat 6 times a week. Otherwise, you'll experience some of those detox symptoms like the congestion, sore throats, and flu-like symptoms. Also, for the last week, I've sort of been gearing up for this diet, and so I've been trying to eat more or less like the diet is intending me to, but also I've been trying to get into the sauna every day, and I think just from kind of switching my diet a little bit and going in the sauna, I broke out on my face for like the first time in a year. So that was fun. So make sure that if you are sweating in the sauna and you have acne-prone skin, that you're washing it off as soon as you can before the sweat has a chance to dry, because sweat is a vitamin pill for acne. I know that because I'm an esthetician. All right, so let's get to what kind of foods you can eat and what foods you cannot eat. So the yes foods, meaning the foods that you can eat during this process, are, you can actually eat a lot of foods. So it's not the worst diet in the world. You can eat all meat whatsoever except for pork. So all meat except pork. That does not include like deli meats. You don't want anything processed, but like, you know, they recommend organic or grass-fed meats as the best option, but of course, no pork, no bacon. You can eat all vegetables. No vegetables are off limits there. All fruits except for oranges, because I think oranges are prone to mold or something. I'm not really sure why oranges are eliminated from the diet. You can eat eggs. You can eat potatoes, sweet potatoes, and yams. You can have brown rice, either short or long grain. You can have brown rice cakes that don't have any like seasonings on it. Like salt is fine, but you don't want to get like the tamari rice cakes or the caramel rice cakes. You just want plain rice cakes. You can have brown rice cereal, like the hot rice farina, that kind of thing. You can have tea and coffee, garlic, onions, and all spices, as long as there are no additives to the spices like yeast or sugars or anything like that. You can use oils for cooking or salad dressing. So the oils that are allowed are extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, almond oil, and apricot oils. I've never seen apricot oil ever in my life, but it sounds really interesting. So if you guys come across it, please leave a link or a note to where you got it and how you like it in the comments below. It does say that most other oils are toxic for the body. So the 4 oils I mentioned are the good ones that you can use. I do want to ask though, I'm gonna email them and ask if hemp seed oil is okay, because I like adding that to salads. Okay, so as far as seasonings, you can use Bragg's liquid aminos as a seasoning. You can use salt, pepper, again, as long as there are no sugars, yeast, or anything that's not on the plan. And then as far as the no foods, of course, anything that's not on the yes foods list is probably not on the plan. So all sugars are eliminated from the plan. So malts, honey, syrups, alcohols, all sugars, all canned or processed foods, any meal replacements, powders, smoothies, shakes, and food bars, any yeast of all forms, dates, dairy and dairy products, butter, cheese, kefir, and yogurt. Those are all off of the table. All grains except for brown rice. So I'm probably gonna still have a combination of brown rice and white rice, because I've heard that brown rice contains higher levels of arsenic. So I'll probably kind of mix the two. You cannot have any dried fruit, no fruit juices, no sweet vegetable juices, no smoothies, nothing processed, like even in a blender, that counts as being processed. No nuts or seeds, no legumes, beans, chickpeas, lentils, any beans, no popcorn, no soy sauce, no vinegar, no alcohol, no breads, no pastas, no pasta substitutes, not even gluten-free, no chips, including seaweed snacks, no milk or dairy substitutes, so no rice or soy milks, no gum. It says check our site for alternatives, so apparently there's an alternative to gum. Oh, maybe there's like I think they have a peppermint spray or a mint spray or something. No sugar substitutes, so even stevia, agave, xylitol, those are all no, not on the list. So certainly there are more no foods than yes foods, but there's still quite a few yes foods. So it's not going to be so tough to get through it. And you'll certainly, like when I did this plan last time, I started feeling relief with my digestion within a day. Like within 8 hours, I felt relief, like a lot less bloating. And I don't really have as much cramping. Sometimes I do, like if I'm eating too much sugar or like pastries and that kind of thing, I'll get cramps. But mostly now for me, it's bloating and weight gain, of course, and just like feeling brain fog, sleepy, just got a bunch of, I don't feel my best self. So back to the plan. All right, so for weeks 1 through 8, if you follow the yes and no foods list, that's what you're basically supposed to do for the first 8 weeks, and then also sweat. At week 9, so after a month, you've gotten through the first 2 months, you can add back in dried fruit, juices, soy sauce, vinegar, legumes, tofu, nuts, and popcorn. By the way, this is a sheet that I printed off of the McCombs website, so it has a lot of like resources to help you get through this plan. So week 9, you can add in all those things, but you want to keep sweating as well. In week 11, you can start adding back in whole grains, so that's amaranth, barley, buckwheat, millet, quinoa, oats, rye, white rice, wild rice, other whole grains you can add back in at that point. That's week 11, and you want to keep sweating at that point too. In week 13, you can add back in pasta, breads, chips, crackers, etc. In week 15, you can add back in sugars and alcohol, and in week 17, you can add back in dairy and dairy replacements, and that's basically your last week. So during this entire process, when you're starting to add foods back in, you kind of see what your body is, or your system is still sensitive to, and if your body is sensitive to those things, you probably have some kind of allergy to it, so you're probably better off not adding those foods in. And often people will feel the best when they just stick to the main first 8-week plan, where it's basically the rice, the vegetables, the fruits, and the meats that are, of course, excluding the pork and the oranges, and no dried fruit. But often people will feel the best just kind of sticking to that basic plan, and maybe you can add in a few things beyond that, but most people, or a lot of people, will just feel better doing that basic plan. So whenever, like kind of over the last 6 years, whenever I felt like my system was getting out of whack, I would just kind of revert to that rice, veggies, and meat, and or eggs. I eat a lot of eggs as my protein because I was a vegetarian for many years, and my body does not digest meat very well. So eggs are a lot easier on my system, so I usually do veggies, rice, and eggs, and I'm good to go. But it's still good to do, kind of revert to the whole McCombs, like give it your all and implement all the supplements and everything, the sweating, to really, really set your system right. So that's basically the plan. The other thing that they mention is that you want to keep your bowels moving during this process, and they say that normal bowel movements should be 3 to 4 times per day. And if you find that your bowel movements are slow, taking a trace mineral, magnesium, or herbal colon cleanser, psyllium, that kind of thing, to help kind of keep your bowels moving. But you want to make sure that you're going every day, 3 to 4 times, ideally. So good luck with that. Okay. So the other thing that you can print out on the website are these daily tracking calendars. So they have like month 1 and month 2. This is great for someone like a Virgo like me, because I love checking things off lists. Month 3. It also tells you, like, if you're buying supplements month to month, when to order your next set of supplements. So that brings me to my next point, which is they are having, so the McCombs Plan, which I've never seen before, they are having a 20% off sale right now. And so I actually ordered the entire set of supplements, which normally is something like $650 for everything, including shipping, I believe. Maybe it's even more with shipping, I'm not sure. But it's like about $600 for everything. That's 4 months. So I was able to buy all 4 months worth of supplements with free shipping for 20% off. So it was like $470. And that's a real steal. It doesn't sound like it, but it is. Especially since this diet is well worth it. You will feel so much better. It's totally worth it. So, but that 20% off deal is only running through, I think, the end of September, and that's when I'm recording this video. I'm not sure if I will be posting this more immediately or if I'm going to wait until December because I was maybe gonna wait until December to launch my channel. So I haven't made my decision there yet, so they might not be having the deal. So they do offer to sell supplements like kind of month to month, or you can buy the whole 4 month set at once, like the complete set, or you can buy like the first 2 months and then months 3 and 4. They have a lot of options, or you can buy supplements individually. But yeah, so they also have a shopping list. Well, see, look at all those things on the list. These are all the yes foods. So of course, all the fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, protein, brown rice, seasonings, and herbs and oils. So lots of options there. I think the most important thing for me is to meal plan appropriately. So I have like all my meals at work, especially since my work schedule will be changing and I'll be working later. So I'll be eating dinner at work too. All my meals at work. Yeah. So I'm starting that in 2 days. And like I said, I will be tracking my progress. What else do I want to say about this? Even when I was done with the plan 6 years ago, I still have been using the antifungal supplement as kind of a way to maintain or kind of keep my system from getting too haywire. And so I have been taking, this is why I still have this, because I take 5 of these a day. And that just kind of, and I can tell it when I run out of this supplement and I go a few days without taking an antifungal, like I can feel my bloat coming back, and I can just tell. I can tell I don't feel right. So this kind of keeps things under control. I'm still not like great with just taking 5 because I definitely need to do this plan full throttle. But it does help keep things as a maintenance dose. Like it does kind of help maintain your system. I also take 1 to 2 of these a day as well. Yeah, of the Detox Supplement. And I do find that like if I get sick, I'll take even a few more, like I'll take 4 of these just to help my system come back into a healthy state. They're great, and I know it has echinacea and vitamin C, so hopefully there are no downfalls to taking echinacea on a daily basis. I know with some herbs you're supposed to take breaks, but anyway, I think that's kind of what I wanted to communicate about Candida. This diet is amazing, and I would encourage you to join me during this process, or at least once you've seen these videos, giving this a try, because it really does work. And I wish you the best. And of course, if you have any comments or want to let me know how your diet is going, your McCombs plan is going, please do leave a comment for me. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will link in the description to the McCombs Plan and some of the supplements that we talked about today. And I hope to see you after week 1. I will update you after my first week of the McCombs Plan and let you know how I'm feeling. All right, talk to you guys later.
Say what you